So, good morning. So we have is that I hope everybody is able to see my screen and voice is audible. Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So yesterday we have seen up to login page integration, etc. And in that, the most important thing is the backend services that you might have focused on. We call it as HTTP service. So this is where you might have focused on. This is a service which integrates the third-party server along with your UI. So this is your common activity. So the next we are going to do is, as soon as you do a login, right, we may want to do a home page. That means we call it as registration or some page. So landing page, we call it as a landing page. There are generally there are two type of users. One is the admin users who manages the entire application. Second is the end users who access the application. So for admin, the way you page designs are different. For users, end users, the way you designs are different. So that you have to take into account consideration when you are dealing with this application. So the most important thing in the Angular is our whole aim is learning the components of the Angular. So when we are trying to learn the components of the Angular, most of the components that we use like button, etc., we use the table where you see a grid kind of an combination where you see a grid, and in that grid you will see line items where you will see editing that line item, etc. So let us assume that the users are registered users. Whoever the registered users, you want to see it as part of the grid. So that is what we can start as an possibility. So in my case, the login page, I don't have the full component that is seen yesterday. I will update that later. So today we'll just design the home page. Let us understand what we want, how we want the home page to be. I'll take an Excel sheet for that. So in this Excel sheet, I'll just design what we want to have it as part of the Excel sheet. So we have registered some users here. So we want to know username as one of the column, username. Say password, we are not supposed to show it in the screen. So username, email, right? The password, we are not supposed to show it on the UI. So we leave it at that. So we want to show this as a grid. That means all users are available. So edit, delete, right? Delete. I want to delete this user permanently. I can, as an admin user, I can delete him. As a this is not visible for the normal users. This is visible for only the admin users. So if you want to do that, so how do we get this data? That means I want to get all the data of the users list. We call it as user list. That user list, we need to pass it to the UI. Once you pass it to the UI has to present it in the table format. So here it is username. So for example, in our case, ABC1, ABC2, we have created all these users, right? Some hello, I think we created some email we have created, abc1 at gmail.com, something. So that we have created. Edit is an icon. It's an icon. Here also delete icon. This is what we want to show. As I said, the icons are, I want to use the icons from material design. Google Materials having around 1,000 and odd icons are there. I want to use it from there, the icons. All the icons, I want to use it from that place, right? Gmail, email ID, whatever the email ID, it is there. So this is what I just wanted to design in the UI. So user can edit an name or something. You want to edit it, we allow them to edit. Delete this user permanently, you can allow them to delete. So we have now three functional. One is getting the list of users. editing the user, saving the user. That means I have to retrieve the user, already retrieved. I want to allow them to edit. That means update the user change. Second, delete the user. That means delete it from the table, acknowledge it to the UI, and refresh the list. So these three functionalities we want to create. So we call this as a landing page. So as soon as you log in, first is we need to know whether this user is an admin user or a normal user. That also we need to know. So if he is an admin user, we should provide them to do that, edit, delete, etc. So to do that, first is I'll go to putty first. Let us understand the table now. All these tables, I hope you are all having it at your place. So upskill is our database name. So in this upskill, I just wanted to check my log users. Users is the table that we have created. So first is I want to know, is there an admin or is he an admin or not? First is I just put select star. Select star from users. So we have around ABC, ABC1, ABC2, ABC3. We have around four users we have. I want to create one user as a system admin user itself. I just created user here from here. Insert into table users, right? Bracket, email, name, password, bracket closed, values. I'm just creating a sysadmin as an user, followed by name, system administrator, followed by password. I use welcome at 123. This is my password. And I want to create him as a default admin. Yes, true. But first is I insert the record. After inserting the record, I want to alter the table. Alter table, users. I want to add a column. Add a column. What column is admin column? Default is it's a Boolean column. Boolean. Default value is false. That means for every user, I want to treat it as a false. Treat it as a false. Right? I create the new column is admin. Default is false. It's a Boolean column. Made it. Now I update. Select star from users. Update. Update users. Table name is admin as set. Set value. Set column value admin equal to true, where id equal to 12. For id equal to 12, I want to make him as an admin user. So now if I go and see the select users, you can see now that true is visible for the is admin. That means for this user alone, I want to show the registration page. For other users, what we want to show, we'll decide it as we go. Right? We'll decide as we go what needs to be shown for him. So we have two types of users. One is admin users. For all admin users, I will allow them to see this user list. That is what our aim is. Okay. So how do we proceed now? So the first thing that we need to do is, there are two ways it can be done. One, you finish off the front end, then come to the back end, or finish the back end, come to the front end. I always say finish the back end so that we have the data available with us. That data we can use it for showing the screen, so that it is easy for us to integrate and move forward, and testing everything becomes easier. So we created a registration page. I don't have a login page, but you created a login page as well. So we create now methods that is belongs to these users, and it is not part of the Angular, it is part of the server, TS server. Part of the TS server. First is go with the DP, that is the endpoint. In this endpoint, async, I want to get user list. So user list, it is always get. So I don't have any input parameter. I don't have any input parameter. So constant query is very simple. Query text. So select all. So I want all. Select star I can give. It doesn't matter. From users. That's all. So I want all the list. Generally, you may have lakh and lakh of users as well. So you need a pagination. At this time, you need to use offset and limit. We need to use this. So according to your page limit, according to the offset limit, we need to go. We should not list down all the lakh of users in for our experiment or for our class. It's fine. You go with select star from users, but in reality, we will not do that. So return FNDB query, get user list, followed by query text. There is no query param because query param is a non-mandatory guy. So I don't have to worry about it. It's a non-mandatory guy. Question mark is there. That means it is non-mandatory. That means if it is null also, he will work on that. So this is one query we want to make so that it will get the list of the users. Same thing, I want to put it as part of the controller. It is user controller. In user controller, I want to paste it. So it is similar to register. Similar to register. So I use the cut and paste. Change the name of the list. Here also. Here also. Returns rows. So there is no parameter for this. So remove the parameters. So there is no parameter for get user list. So one condition, I don't want admin user to be part of the list. So where is admin is false. So I can use is admin equal to false or where not is admin, either of the way. So always when you write the query, you can check the query then and there in your query window. So make sure this query works. It doesn't give any error. So I have already have a putty session. So in that putty session, I can check it and make sure it works. So now you can see that is admin is false. Because of that, I only get the 4 records because I don't want the admin users to be part of the list. Okay, so but you can update only the users, that is existing user. So you can change that. So now I removed that. Is admin user is where not is admin. I get all the user list. So get non-admin. You want to change it, you can change it as well. Rename the symbol. Automatically will rename everywhere. Non-admin user list. I can rename. So once I rename, automatically it gets renamed even in the controller. Controller also automatically he gets renamed. So this I'll put it over here. So I get the list. I'm able to get it here. Next is routing side. So routing side, I need to change API dot. So preferably I use the same method so that easy for us to debug anything we want to do. It is easy for us to do. So it is not a post now, it is a get. All along we were using a post. So right now it is a get element. So it is a get. All other things, most of the time it will be cut and paste only because it will be once you wrote, once you write it, it will be same. That's why we are standardizing in the way we generate. So user control, get. So no request because the request is going to be a get. Get means there is no body content. There is no body content. So I'm just passing that non-admin. So that is the only thing. All other things will remain the same. So simple to use. easy to manage. Okay. So get non-admin user list. So now I want to test this. You just see how much time it took now for us to create this entire backside work. It doesn't took time at all. So that is how once your basic framework is ready and you know what you are going to do, then it becomes just add on, and then manage it. Easy to manage. Okay. Once we finish some base grades, we'll get into, because right now I'm going to the Postman now. Everybody can access this request. So we don't want that to happen. We want the tokenization to take care of. So that they have authorization in place. That we'll see as we go. Subsequent thing, we'll see that. Now I just copy this, copy any of the thing, whether login or anything, I can take a copy, duplicate, and then I rename the method and make it from post to get. So it's a local host, post to get. I need to start the service. I don't think I have the service on. So this itself, I can use it. So I'm starting the service now. So TS server, npm run, or I call it as nodemon, right? That is what I use, nodemon index.ts. Nodemon is a package which will, even if you restart or change anything, it will automatically restart and get the system ready. It is on 8080 port. So make sure it is on now 6000 port. Change it to 8080 port. 8080 port, I changed it to. Login also, I changed it to 8080 port. Register also 8080 port. Now I started the service. We have all the code ready. I don't know whether I have saved it or not. I'll save it. So get non-admin user list. This is what I copy pasted. I save it now. Save all. Saving done. Now this get non-admin user. I want to make sure I'm getting the list of users in the data set. So make sure the reset happened. So it is restarted. Service restarted. Now you can see now you get all the data here. So backend job is over now. So we are getting the password also. So we don't want the password. If you don't want that, what you want here is you just go to the DB, instead of star, use ID column, email, comma, name, comma, created on. This is the 4 column that you want. I go to the putty, in putty, ID, email, name, without password, created on. So created on is the column. So I just use this 4 columns now. Save it. Job is done. I don't have to change anywhere because the way that we have managed the code is in such a way that it manages all the conditions. Just change it here. Now I will not get the password in my output. So if I just put the Postman again, request again, now you can see ID. This ID is required for editing or deleting. I need this ID. Right? I don't want to use the email for that. I use the system ID, generated ID for deleting or editing the record. Right? So I need this ID. Because of that, we have taken that ID. Email is important. Name is important. Created on is important. So we have all these columns available with us now. Right? So now the backend side code is now we have done. We have took maximum of 15 minutes. We took to just finish off the model, controller, and routing. We took only 15 minutes max, and we have completed the job. We did one refinement, removing the password instead of star. We did one change. but that change is immediately reflected. So your design has to be in such a way, any modification, it should not go through the entire code change again. It should be simple. As far as possible, it should be simple. So wherever you have to make it dynamic, you make it dynamic. So for example, some people will say, they want to refine this. They will put one loop, additional loop, and change the reference. Then that is all. They will do it at the business layer. Right now, our advantage of the entire result we just passed here. We don't bother about iterating these rows or anything. So that time is now less. So I'm just passing the entire rows that is collected. The rows are controlled by DB. So whatever you give here, that will appear here. If you give a star, it will give all the columns. If you don't give the star, it will give what has been represented here. So in that way, I'm not sensitive to the column names or anything. So if I give a wrong data, it will fail. That is different. In this case, whoever access it, they will get the list of users, which is against the principle of security. So they should not. That will handle it little later. That is the control we are going to establish as we move on. Okay. So up to this, are you clear with? I know you won't reply, but I'm just asking that question. If you have any queries, you can raise the questionnaire. You can raise the question in case if you have any questions here. So the assumption is you have completed the login page, you have completed the register page, and then now we are moving on to as soon as you log in, where we need to land up at. For that, we created a one admin user because we are now working on the admin user flow. We created one admin user, and for that admin user, we changed the table structure. So there are two changes I have done to the table structure. One is I have added this alter table command. I'm pasting this as part of the questionnaire. I'm pasting this command. So I'm pasting it as part of my questions. Second, we have created one system admin user. We created one system admin user. This also I am pasting it. Second, I have updated the system admin user as I took the ID of the system admin user. I have updated that user for admin true. Default is false. So default is false means all the users that we created before, everybody is made false. And whatever the user I have created now, I made an update comment. So you learned one insert and you learned an update also. I made him as a true. And I added a controller side. I have added one method under controller, under model, in user db.ts file, added the below method. This method I have added. This method is nothing but non-admin users. I am resulting it out. I am taking out all the non-admin users. Second, I have added a controller. Added a controller as well. So I went to the controller. Simple. I just added that controller here to just simplify thing. I'm just adding one line, reducing a line. I've added a controller here. Underneath user controller.ts file. Add below method. So this we have done. So this will add the additional method. Then we have done a routing change. So routing, we went to routing API.ts file. We have added this routing. It's a get routing. It is not a post routing because I'm not passing any parameter. Under route, API.ts file, add the below route. So this we have done. So with this, we have completed the front end portion, and then I tested that using a Postman. So Postman curl command also, I'm just passing it on. This is the Postman curl command to test this service. So we did that as well. So post command is been done. So it will give the all the requests. Sorry, there is no body here. I've sent up because it is a get. This is not effective, but it should not be part of the post command. This is the I'll copy the curl command again. So above curl command is wrong. Please use below curl command. Right. So there is no data actually. It's a get operation. I am not passing any input. So it is just a curl command, a get operation. So by default, it is a get. So I don't have to do anything. So HTTP list, and as soon as you got the list, and it will print out. This is the printout that you are able to see here. Output that you are seeing. So this is the output you will get, and this is what we have seen it now. So we have added the user. We have get the list of the users, and we have added model, controller as well as routing. So all this we have added, we have tested as part of the Postman as well. So now backend side is over. How much time it took? Very minimal time. So we are able to complete it in no time. Now I need to take it forward to the UI side. So that means I am coming to the Angular side of the code. So Angular side of the code, it is not part of the TS server, it is part of the SRC folder. In SRC folder, I am going into the app. First is routing. I need to make sure the routing is established. That is HTTP service. So in HTTP service, copy paste, mostly all will work with copy paste. I generally, in my case, as a personal, I always use the same method name so that there is no ambiguity and we are clear what we are doing. So HTTP instead of post, I need to make it as a get. And I don't need a data. I remove the data from here. So now backend portion is also ready. That is in service side of the Angular is also ready now. So service side Angular is now ready. So I don't know what change I have done here. Controller. Okay. Save it. So now Angular side portion is ready. Now we need to touch the UI side. That means code behind and HTML file. That will take time because we up to backend it is very fast because we don't have much of a job to do. Now front end we are learning a new component called table, and in that new component we are going to add this data set. Right? There are multiple ways the table can be designed. We are not going to worry on that. So where we want to first create a new component called home page, or we call it as an admin user page or user manage user page, whatever the name you want to give. Manage user page is what you want to give as a name. We can give that as a manage user page. So I now come back to my command window. I open one more node prompt because it's a TS server side. I want to open the Angular side. So Angular side, I just open it. D drive. I'm going to the project. CDFS project 1. Inside this project, what I want is, I want to now go with new component, ng generate component manage user. manage users is my component name, right? So I want to create first module, and then I want to, it's all, as we decide, we always go with module and routing by default. So I can create first the component, then I can create the module as well. ngg module manage, same spelling, make sure you use the same spelling, hyphen routing, because I need with router. So I want creating a module because it's a lazy loading. We are going to do a lazy loading. So I have created a module as well. So automatically all the appropriate updates will happen and it will be ready. Right? So module is created now. Routing is created now. So I come back now. Now you can see here, manage users got created, and manage users is part of the app module. Manage users component is been getting called. Right? So it is getting called at the manage component level, but I don't want that to be called at this level. I can control that. For time being, we just make sure that we complete this flow. Later, we can adjust these areas because I want only login page here. I don't want the component to be directly called by the thing. So I remove this. That is the best. I remove this because I don't want that to get called, because it's a module control, lazy loading. If I put it here, then it is not a lazy loading. Everything will be called at the beginning itself. So we don't want that to happen. Okay, now module is there. So manage user routing module is created. Manage users module is created. Component is created. Basic structure is created. HTML file is linked, mapped. So TS file, this is my spec. There is a testing side. This is my manage user basic thing. CSS is empty. Routing module is also created. So manage user routing module. That is how he has created the name of the module. Everything is set now. So what I want to do, I want to now call this manage users module. I want to develop this HTML. So I know what component I want. I know what data I want to use. So first is I'll go to the TS file. As soon as this page is loaded, I want to get the users list. I want to get the users list. Right? That is my, as soon as I load the thing, I want to get the users list. So for that, HTML is not required. HTML can be covered little later. So first is get the users list. So how do I get? I already having the HTTP service. I need to call that HTTP service here. So under component, I need to call that service. In register page, we call that service. We call that service in register page. So we can copy paste that because it's all in the same hierarchy. It's all in the same hierarchy. Router service also needs to be called. So I take this two guy, put it underneath component. Again, I come here, register component. I take this constructor. I need, right now, I don't need a form builder. Sorry. I'm jumping. So I don't need a form builder. So I'm not worried now. I just make the constructor router and service and the HTTP service. These two I need. I just use that here. That's all. The first is this. See, most of them you can see how we just do a cut and paste. Because once you are set, then mostly everything is a cut and paste. Now I want to you can, as I said, I generally use the same name that I use. So in this case, the name that I used in the auth service is nothing but HTTP service. So this service, whatever the name I use the same name here. For this is the way I prefer. Some people may accept it, some people may not accept it. There is up to them to decide. I prefer to use the same name because for me debugging becomes easier. I don't have to remember. So here let result equals await get non-user list. That's all. So I have to use it is part of HTTP service. So HTTP dot this HTTP is part of this. So this dot HTTP dot get user list. So here there is a possibility that DB is down, etc. So I need to validate the result. If result dot success true, you proceed. Else, I just send some message for time being console log. Console log result. I just put the console log now. So if it is success, what do you want to do? I just put console log now. Type result dot rows. So this is where the content is available. I just want to do this. Somebody has to call this method. So I'm calling it through ng on init. That is the one which gets loaded first. So I call always ng on init always gets loaded first. It gets called. Whatever the function you call it underneath ng on init, that gets called by default. So I want to initially, whenever this page is loaded, I want to ensure this list is called. So up to this is done. So we created a component. In that component, I just give those commands also then and there to you so that you are clear. So I have created now ng manage users. So first is you always do this routing module so that will not additionally that will not get added. Please in Angular project folder use this command to create a module for manage user. Okay, so this is the one. The command is given. Then create component for manage users. Right, that command is also giving now ng c manage users. The first is you created a module. Once you create a module, you create the component. Once you do that, now inside the module, you create the functions. Right? Create inside the module, create the function. Before that, auth service, in HTTP service, add this line. As part of HTTP service, as part of HTTP service, please add below service name. This will ensure the connectivity, ensure the get user method get non-admin user list is integrated between back end and front end. So this will ensure that. So asynchronous, not last value. So this will in turn call that. So that call you are bringing it here. Right now, come to the component level. Component level, add this method. In manage users dot component dot ts file, please add this method as part of the class of that component below ng-init. Method ng-on-init, right? O-n ng-on-init method. So just add this method. So with this now, we have that integration, everything ready, available for you to use. So in ng-on-init, call this method so that it initializes the data. In ng-on-init, inside on-init, call the method, call the above method. Right, so that is nothing but this dot get user list. So this is the method. So as soon as you do it, now when this component gets loaded, we have not yet loaded this component. As soon as this component gets loaded, you will see that this data results is available in the console log. So coming Monday, we'll integrate this HTML we create, and in that table component is what we are going to learn. So we integrate that. How to use it, we'll see. Then we'll proceed further. Okay, thank you. I will end this session for today with this. So balance, we'll see it on Monday. Any questions? Of course, you are free to ask. If you have any questions, you are free to ask. Okay. Thank you. Thanks a lot. You can stop recording.